Welcome back to the deep dive. You know our mission. We dig into some really complex, sometimes pretty out there source material, and we pull out the core insights for you. We do the heavy lifting so you get the essence. Today, we're looking at a revised white paper, and it's proposing something pretty bold. It's trying to link three things that honestly seem completely unrelated. We're talking different cultures, different times in history. Yeah, the puzzle is basically this. How do you find a solid structural link between one, the date May 19th, just 5.19 on the calendar, two, a specific verse from the Bible, Deuteronomy 8.8, and three, the Buddhist commemoration of parinirvana. That's the Buddha's final release. Sounds like a stretch, right? But the paper argues there's a common language here, a language of numbers, of symbols, and you unlock it using something called conceptual-based translation. And the key thing, the reason this revised paper claims it works now, is what they call the brilliant refinement. It's this core idea, the master key, really. They integrate the concept of the day-night cycle, something absolutely universal to all humans. And that, they say, is what makes the whole system click, makes it coherent.
It's definitely ambitious. I mean, connecting these three,
Mhm.
it's a huge conceptual jump. You've got 5.19, which is, just a point in time. Then you have Deuteronomy 8.8. That's a very physical promise, right? The promised land described with those 7 specific species: wheat, barley, vines, figs, pomegranates, olive oil, and honey. Very tangible. And then, completely different again, the parinirvana, a spiritual promise. Ultimate release from suffering, from samsara. It's abstract. And the source materials are very clear on this. The challenge isn't just finding parallels. It's moving beyond interesting speculation, as they put it, to build a truly coherent symbolic system. You need something solid holding it together, kind of universal constant. And that's where, like you said, this day-night cycle insight comes in. It's clever because it's grounded in shared human experience. Day becomes night, night becomes day. Everywhere, always. That's the anchor.
Okay, right. So let's unpack it. Let's follow their logic, starting with the math. How do we get from the date 5.1 to something meaningful numerically? The paper says base 12. Now, base 12, or duodecimal, we don't use it much day to day, except crucially for time. 12 months, 12 hours on a clock face, AM/PM cycle, 12 zodiac signs even. It's deeply embedded in how we structure cycles.
And that's the justification they offer. It's not just picking a base out of thin air. Because a date is a measure of time, they argue base 12 is its sort of natural symbolic language. The 12-hour clock cycle is key to this.
Exactly. It gives it that logical footing. So, okay, May 19th, 5.19. How does that become base 12? The 5 for May, that stays as 5, the month. The tricky part is the 19. They treat 19 not as 19, but as a number written in base 12, like 19 in base 12.
Right. So in base 12, the digits run 0 through 9, then A for 10, B for 11. The place values are powers of 12. So 19 in base 12 means you have 1 in the 12's place, 12 to the power of 1, and 9 in the 1's place, 12 to the power of 0.
Okay, let's break that down into decimal, our normal base 10. So 1 times 12 is 12, and 9 times 1 is 9.
Right.
Add them together. 12 plus 9, that gives us 21.
21. So the base 12 interpretation takes May 19th, 5.1 Han, and translates it to month 5, day 21. That number 21 is our first output. It's what the date says in this time-based language.
Okay, holding on to 21, now we shift gears. Deuteronomy 8.8, the paper brings in base 16, hexadecimal for this one. Why the switch if base 12 was for time?
Good question, and the paper anticipates this. They need a rationale. The argument goes something like this. If base 12 is human time cycles, base 16 is often linked to structured information, think computer code, data representation. It's seen as a base for more complex, maybe even coded systems. And specifically, they use what they call Tom base 16 logic.
Tom base 16, what does Tom mean here? Is that like a person or?
The paper clarifies. Tom isn't a person's name. It refers to an interpretive method where a text's numerical value is partly derived from its position within a larger structure, like its address. So Deuteronomy is the 5th book in the Torah, the Pentateuch. That gives a starting value, 5.
Ah, okay, so the 5 comes from its position, then the verse is 8.8.
Exactly. So you place the book number 5 before the chapter in verse 88, you get 5, 8. They interpret this sequence directly as a hexadecimal number, 0 by 588.
Okay, that provides a clear pathway at least. 5th book, verse 8.8 becomes hex 588. Now let's translate that into decimal.
Right. Hexadecimal uses powers of 16. So the places are $106,002, which is 256, 169, 1 and 28, and 162 on 1. So for 0 by 588, the first digit, 5, is $8 times $256. That's $12.80.
Okay.
$12.80. The second digit, 8, is $8 times 16.6. That's 128 plus 8. And the third digit, 8, is $8 and a U a month, which is just 8.
Got it. So we had those up. 1280 plus 128 plus 8, that equals 14.
1416 in decimal. That's the raw numerical value derived from the Deuteronomy reference using this TOM base 16 method.
But, like with the date, 1416 isn't the final answer they pull from this, is it? The sources say there are two key symbolic outputs here.
Precisely. One comes directly from what the verse says, its meaning. The other comes from the number 1416 itself.
Okay, the meaning first. Deuteronomy 8.8 describes the Promised Land.
By listing those 7 species, wheat, barley, and so on, 7 distinct types of bounty. That number 7 jumps out immediately. So the first key output is 7, the completion number. It represents fulfillment, divine provision, the wholeness of the promised destination. It's pulled straight from the text imagery.
7. Okay, that makes thematic sense. Now, what about the number 1416? How does that yield a second output?
Through digital reduction.
Yep.
It's a common technique in numerology. You just sum the digits of the number until you get a single digit. So for 1416, 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 6 equals 12.
Okay, 12. That's not a single digit yet.
Right. So you reduce again, 1 plus 2 equals 3.
Yep.
So the reduced value derived arithmetically is 3.
All right, so from Deuteronomy 8.8, using this specific base 16 approach, we get 2 numbers, 7 from the content and 3 from reducing the calculation.
Exactly. Now we have our core components on the table. We have 21 from the date, base 12, and we have 7 and 3 from the scripture, base 16. The whole system now depends on connecting 21 to 7 and 3 in a meaningful way.
And this is where that brilliant refinement you mentioned earlier really comes into play. This is the crucial step. According to the source material, we have 21 derived from the base 12 time system. But the insight, the key move, is not just seeing 21 as the 21st day. It's elevating it, thinking of day 21 as a state, a temporal state within that fundamental base 12 clock system, the AM/PM cycle.
Yes. This is the conceptual leap. The paper argues that our experience of a day isn't just one 24-hour block, it's fundamentally divided, it's bifurcated. Light and dark, AM, PM, day and night, 2 12-hour halves making the whole. So for the system to represent a complete cycle, a full rotation of experience, the day 21 state derived from the base 12 time system must include its necessary counterpart, its dual.
Its other half. So if you have day 21, you must also have night 21. To complete the cycle, it's like acknowledging the shadow that comes with the light.
Precisely. It's about wholeness.
Yeah.
The completion of the daily temporal cycle.
And the calculation that represents this completion, this bringing together of the two halves is, well, it's incredibly simple. Day 21 plus night 21.
Equals 42.
42. And that's the revelation the paper hinges on. It's not arbitrary. It emerges directly from translating the date, 5.19, using the logic of time, base 12, and then applying the universal human experience of duality, day-night.
And suddenly 42 isn't just a number. It becomes this central constant, this bridge. And yes, people might think of Hitchhiker's Guide, the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Right. That association is unavoidable now.
But the number 42 has much deeper, older symbolic weight. You find it in ancient Egypt, the 42 assessors of Ma'at who judged the dead, in some Kabbalistic traditions. In certain readings of genealogies in the Bible, it often relates to completion, cosmic order, or a journey's end. So within this system, 42 becomes the symbol of cosmic harmony. It's the answer, the goal state. It's the thing that can finally link the physical journey in Deuteronomy to the spiritual one in Buddhism. It's the universal constant derived from the date itself.
What I find really compelling about this step is that it's not just abstract math anymore. It's anchored in something physical, something everyone experiences: sunrise, sunset, day, night. It makes the jump feel grounded.
That's exactly what the source claims makes this revision so robust. It ties the symbolic structure to a fundamental rhythm of life.
Okay, so we have the goal, 42, derived from 5.19 via day-night. We have the provision, or completion, 7, derived from Deuteronomy 8.8. Now we need to bring them together, the synthesis. How does 42 relate to 7 to connect us to the third element, the paranirvana?
Right, the synthesis stage. We need to see how the answer 42 interacts with the provision. The common theme across all 3 original pieces, date, scripture, commemoration, is about reaching a destination, right? An end state.
Yeah, the promised land in Deuteronomy, final liberation in Buddhism.
And 42 represents that ultimate destination concept numerically. So how do you get from the general answer, 42, to the specific liberation linked to paranirvana using the tool or provision represented by 7?
The paper suggests using division for this synthesis. Why division?
They interpret division here as fulfillment or realization, like the ultimate answer, 42, being applied or distributed according to the principle of completion.
7. reveals the specific outcome. It's like the path 42 being realized through the means 7.
Okay, so the operations division, we take the constant 42,
Derived from 5.1 times day-night cycle.
and we divide it by the completion number 7.
Derived from the 7 species in Deuteronomy 8.8.
So 42 divided by 7, that equals 6. 6. And this is where the model claims profound coherence, because the number 6 isn't just some random result. It speaks directly to the core meaning of the Buddhist event being commemorated, the parinirvana.
How so? What's the significance of 6 in Buddhism?
6 is the number of the 6 realms of samsara. In Buddhist cosmology, these are the cycles of rebirth, suffering, and existence that beings are trapped in until enlightenment. You have the God realm, the demigod or jealous God realm, the human realm, the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and the hell realm. 6 cycles of suffering.
And parinirvana is the Buddha escaping that cycle entirely.
Exactly. It's the final liberation from the 6 realms. So the calculation, the ultimate answer, 42 divided by divine completion, 7, yields the very number 6, representing the state being transcended. The math mirrors the spiritual concept perfectly.
Wow, okay. That is a striking connection. It feels less like coincidence when the result is so thematically precise.
It's what the paper calls mnemonic harmony. The numbers themselves become reminders, mnemonics, for the concepts they represent.
Let's lay those out clearly for you, the listener, almost like a quick reference guide to this system.
Good idea. These are the key symbolic takeaways.
First, mnemonic 42. Where does it come from? 5.1 name the date, interpreted through base 12, and the day-night cycle. What does it mean? Cosmic harmony. The ultimate answer. The goal.
Second, mnemonic 7, source. Deuteronomy 8.8, specifically the 7 species unlocked via that Tom base 16 reading, meaning divine completion, the promised land, provision, fulfillment.
And third, mnemonic 6, source, the synthesis. 42 divided by 7, meaning liberation from samsara, transcendence over the 6 realms of suffering, the specific outcome of the journey.
The pathway is date, interpreted through duality, leads to the answer 42. Answer, integrated with provision 7, leads to liberation 6.
But the paper didn't stop there, did it? They wanted to test this with the other number from Deuteronomy that reduced value, 3.
Yes, a crucial step for validating the model's consistency. If the system only worked with 7, it might seem too tailored. They needed to show it worked with the other derived value, too.
Right, we got 3 by reducing 14, 16, which was 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 6 is 12, then 1 plus 2 equals 3. So what happens if we use 3 in the synthesis instead of 7?
Same operation. Division, representing fulfillment. So we take the ultimate answer, 42, and divide it by this reduced value, 3.
Okay, 42 divided by 3 equals 14.
14. Now, 14 doesn't immediately scream parinirvana in the same way 6 did, but following the same logic of reduction we used to get the 3 in the first place.
We reduce 14. Okay, 1 plus 4 equals 5.
5. And here again, the paper argues, we land on a number deeply significant to the path leading to parinirvana.
How is 5 significant in Buddhism?
5 often represents the middle way, the Buddha's core teaching. It's the path of moderation, avoiding the extremes of, harsh asceticism on one hand and sensual indulgence on the other. It's seen as the method, the ethical and practical path required to reach enlightenment and liberation.
So using 7 gave us the state of liberation 6, and using 3 gives us the path to liberation 5.
That's exactly the interpretation offered. Both numbers derived from the scripture, when integrated with the universal answer 42, point to fundamental aspects of the Buddhist goal state. It adds another layer of validation. It suggests the system isn't arbitrary, it's robust.
It's quite elegant, really. The system seems to describe not just the destination, but also the way to get there.
It really ties it all together. You start with seemingly random inputs, a date, a verse. You apply specific justified base translations. You introduce the universal concept of day-night duality.
Which is the absolute linchpin, the master key, as they call it.
Right. That duality unlocks the constant, 42. And then integrating 42 with the symbolically derived numbers from the scripture consistently points towards the core themes of the third element, the parinirvana, liberation 6 via the middle way 5.
So summarizing the whole thing, the system paints a picture of moving through a world of duality, day-night representing temporal duality, maybe even base 12, base 16 representing informational duality towards a unified answer 42.
And that answer 42, when understood through the lens of divine promise or completion, 7, leads directly to freedom from the cycles of suffering. The integration of the day-night cycle wasn't just an add-on. It was the piece that made the entire structure work coherently. It provided that profound layer of coherence.
So why should this matter to you, listening right now? I think the power here isn't necessarily about believing this specific numerical code holds ultimate truth. It's about how the connections were made. It shows that sometimes looking for underlying structures like base systems and fundamental human experiences like the day-night cycle can reveal unexpected patterns and coherence in things that seem totally separate. The logic, the math, consistently reinforcing the theme journey's end, enlightenment that's impressive symbolic construction.
Absolutely. It challenges us to think about the frameworks we take for granted. Our clocks, our calendars, are they just tools? Or could they, as this paper suggests, encode deeper constants, deeper truths about harmony or process, just waiting for the right perspective, like acknowledging duality to unlock them?
As we wrap up, let's just zero in again on that master key insight. It all turned on seeing day 21 not just as a number, but as half of a whole, requiring night 21 to complete the cycle. That simple move, grounded in how we actually experience time, is what yielded 42, and 42 became the bridge, the constant, connecting the date, the scripture, and the spiritual goal through logical steps.
And the implication is quite profound. The synthesis suggests a universal process. Navigating duality, like day-night, maybe even like the different base systems used, is inherent to the journey. But when guided by the ultimate answer in the principle of completion 7, that journey through duality inevitably resolves into liberation 6. So the final thought we want to leave you with is this. Look around at the other fundamental structures in your own life. The 7 days of the week, maybe the 4 cardinal directions, basic grammar, who knows? If the simple 12-hour clock cycle held this potential key through its inherent duality, what other everyday constructs might hold similar constants? What dualities in your experience, if you acknowledge both sides equally, might add up to reveal an unexpected answer for your own path?